We're looking at a brand new Vertex from Coros, but it doesn't have quite enough newness to call it a Vertex 3. But it's obviously not a Vertex 2 either. So we'll just call this the Vertex 2S, where the S stands for similar to the old Vertex 2 or similar to the old Vertex 2, but with a superior heart rate monitor and a slightly different GPS antenna redesign here. In the Vertex, it's still Coros's most state-of-the-art GPS watch with its super long battery life. Although technically, the battery life on this new 2S, it's actually slightly shorter than the old Vertex 2, but we're gonna get into that. But for now, I'll just say that this all-new Vertex 2S surpasses its predecessor on accuracy, and overall, it feels like a superior device from Coros. I actually did ask Coros if the S stood for anything in particular with the Vertex 2S here, and their answer was no, not really. They could have called it the Vertex 2A or Vertex 2B or Vertex 2C, but this Vertex 2S definitely doesn't stand for smaller. In fact, it's pretty much the exact same size as the Vertex 2. I'll try to show both of these devices side by side throughout this video, but the most visible differences between these two watches are gonna be the colors and the new heart rate monitor sensor that's on the back here. And there's actually 3 new color options now. So space, moon, and earth, or black, gray, and dark blue here. And I'll be showing the moon color or the light gray color throughout this video. But each of these colors actually does come with a corresponding watch face. So maybe we're celebrating a little over 50 years since man has last been on the moon. But I've actually been rocking this this new watch face with the moon in the background while testing this Vertex 2S. And I've actually only been testing this watch for a little over a week now, so I would definitely call this more of a first look than like a full-blown review. But I have had the chance to swim with this watch a few times, bike with it, and definitely run with it quite a few times. And I've got a ton of comparison data between the Vertex 2S and the Vertex 2, as well as comparisons to other devices on the market. And because this watch has Coros's new heart rate sensor, there are actually some slight differences to the size compared to the Vertex 2. It's pretty hard to notice actually when you just kind of look at these side by side, but the Vertex 2S's heart rate sensor bulges out a little bit more, kind of making it sit up a little bit higher on your wrist, and yet somehow the 2S is about 1 or 2 grams lighter than the Vertex 2. So I don't think that you're gonna notice the difference in size or weight, but there is a slight difference there. And that new heart rate sensor, it actually takes a slight toll on the battery life. I guess it's really good that this particular watch has an absolutely massive 680 milliamp battery life to work with. But here, check this out. It kind of looks like a loss of somewhere between 8 and 20% of battery life, depending on which GPS mode you have selected here. And I think that that's kind of a big deal because a lot of the people that are actually choosing to purchase this watch are buying it specifically because of its insane battery life. But even with that slight reduction in battery life, this watch is still at least one of the industry leaders when it comes to battery life on GPS watches. I guess we should keep in mind that if battery life is a deciding factor for you specifically, now might be a good time to pick up the older Vertex 2. Starting today, it'll start to be a little bit harder to find. In fact, I think Coros is gonna have it taken down from their website here pretty much immediately, replacing it with this Vertex 2S. And I think that Amazon and REI are going to start selling that particular version of this watch for $100 off. I'll try to find some links for you guys and pin a comment to the top. But thankfully, this Vertex 2S isn't necessarily going up in price. It will still be at $700. So now today, as of the release of this watch, we should be able to go to Coros.com and see it priced at that particular price point. The packaging for the 2S is slightly different. This new box, it's actually made of recycled material. It's actually reusable for sure. I don't know what I'm gonna reuse it for, but it's definitely reusable. And I love the fact that you're now gonna get both a silicone watch band and a nylon watch band option when buying this new Vertex 2S. I think that's fantastic. Super easy to change these watch bands out. Just kind of like clip this silicone watch band on, or the nylon band kind of snaps on. The old version of that particular watch, the Vertex 2, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it came with this like bigger waterproof box, which is cool. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of cool stuff that you can use this for, but I didn't really end up using it for anything except for to store the watch from time to time. But personally, I do think that I'd go for this new Vertex 2S as opposed to the Vertex 2. For a few reasons, but probably the biggest reason is that new built-in heart rate sensor. Here, check this out. Okay, in this timeline, we've got the Garmin Forerunner 165, but it's actually connected to an ECG style heart rate chest strap. And I think that's kind of like the de facto standard for getting good heart rate data. But in this weird case, I do actually think that there's actually a little dropout here. But in any case, here's the Vertex 2. And in this case, this heart rate data is way off. After 20 minutes or so, I even tried to like take a little break in my run and try to get the Vertex 2 to kind of fall back in line with reality, but it just struggled on this particular run. So I had the Vertex 2 on the left wrist and the new Vertex 2S on the right. So here's that line, but as you can see, it's not gonna be perfect, but to me, it actually looks a lot better on this particular data set. And I've had other runs with both of these watches where the Vertex 2 does do better than this, but overall, this Vertex 2S, to me, it just looks like it's doing slightly better on heart rate accuracy. But the Vertex 2S also has a slight redesign to their GPS antenna. So looking at some GPS data here, and again, I'm not doing this on crazy hard trails or anything like that. No big city running just yet, although if that's something that you guys are interested in, I'm happy to do that. But both the Vertex 2 and the Vertex 2S looks really good on the trail running that I'm doing here. This is a 7-mile run. I actually had 5 watches with me for that particular run, but the only watch that looks off to me is the Garmin Forerunner 945 here, which is about, it's probably about a 4 or 5 year old watch at this point. But I looked at a few GPS data sets, and to me, you know, both the Vertex 2 and the Vertex 2S, they both looked really good to me. I'll definitely keep trying to find a few harder GPS scenarios to test with these two watches, especially if I make some sort of video like the Vertex 2S after 100 days. Let me know in the comment section if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing. But real quickly, I did want to just show this watch in comparison to some of the other watches that Coros sells. So in this case, that's the Coros Pace 3, the Apex 2, the Apex 2 Pro, and the Vertex 2. And now here, the new Vertex 2S. And of course, you know, I don't own every single watch that's on the market, but here is a comparison to a few watches that might be competitive offerings from other brands. This is the Garmin Enduro 2, which should be similar in size to the larger Phoenix series of watches. Here's the medium size of the Garmin Epix watch, the Suunto Race watch. Here's the Apple Watch Ultra next to the Vertex 2 and the Vertex 2S. Feel free to pause or replay any of these particular sections of the video because I definitely moved through all of these watch comparisons pretty quickly here. But overall, I would definitely say that the Vertex 2S, it's still pretty similar to the Vertex 2, I guess as you would expect when you call something a Vertex 2S. But what's new here is new styles, new heart rate sensor, and that new GPS antenna for the most part. And I think if it were me, and I already had the Vertex 2, I definitely don't think that I would upgrade to the Vertex 2S. On the other hand, if I was in the market for a watch with the best battery life on the market, I'd probably opt for the 2S over the discounted Vertex 2. Primarily because of that heart rate accuracy issue. But we're all different here, especially when it comes to price sensitivity. So I guess I'll pass the question on to you guys. Is the Vertex 2S something that is interesting to you guys? Would you upgrade from the Vertex 2 to the 2S? What do you guys think of this thing? I'm always up for continuing these conversations down in the comment section of these videos. Comment section is right below the video here. It's right below the subscribe button and the like button down below there. But either way, Coros Vertix 2S, GPS watch or no GPS watch at all. I really do hope that you're getting out there swimming, biking, running, rinsing, and repeating it all over again. And we will see you guys in the next one.